Hi, and welcome to today's movement session. Join me as we just bring a little bit of attention to where we are, how we're feeling, finding a place to sit or lie down if you need to, just to focus on our breaths and to bring ourselves here. Today's movement session is more on the accessible side. The goal here is to check in with our bodies, perform some active mobility, build up our skills a little bit. Essentially, a very basic session in order for us to start building our library and start to find ways to actively go inside and to check in with our body. The way it works is we'll essentially go, you're welcome to follow along with me. All the movements will be able to be spotted, and of course if you need to modify them or change them up, that's also fine. While we're here still seated or lying down, give yourself a bit of an active body scan. So check in with the neck. You can move it in directions left and right, semicircles. You can copy what I'm doing too. Otherwise, if there's any points of tension in your body, check in with them and let them know that they're going to be on the go for a little bit. Still bringing attention to your breath throughout this session, which shouldn't be too intense. Breath is a very good anchoring point. These naturally will go from more and more basic to intermediate to a little bit more challenging. I'm sure you'll be able to keep along. So let's go off with our first move here, going from a classic bridge with a reach over. Alternate sides here. Priority is the hips, and then the arms reaching over is a nice bonus to get our upper backs a little bit more engaged, especially if this is first thing in the morning or quite early in your day. Our backs can get pretty stiff from sleeping. Also, getting the glutes a bit more engaged is always a good start. So this is our first move, and we'll keep going like this, more or less this pace. Keeping up with me is great, but if you need to slow it down or modify, I'm not going to hold that against you. Let's just move. Awesome. Next move, we flip around. And we're going to go into a high plank position here, hands and feet. And what we're doing are shoulder blade press ups. So we're keeping the elbows locked straight, keeping the core nice and engaged. And we're aiming to shift our body up and down only via shoulder blade movement. Can be a little tricky. Don't worry if it looks funny. Make sure that you aren't dropping your spine too much. A very underestimated move for the core. We're going to do this a couple more times. Really plant those hands firmly, fingers spread wide. Your first small challenge for keeping your breath going with the body tension. And we're already on our way. We're 2 moves in. Let's go to the next one. Shake out any tension if you need. We're still early in the session, so the wrists in particular need a bit of love. But of course, if there's anything else you need to mobilize, go for it. Now's your chance. So we're going to slightly level up our moves now, starting to rise up the demands of the body. From a low squat or on the haunches, so the toes, we're going to lean over to one side and extend the opposing leg. So we're starting to get into our ankles, our toes, maybe even our hips, placing our hands and getting a bit of our side body more engaged. And as the whole session will go, this is purely on a time basis, so the speed is up to you. Feel out what is appropriate. And if you're keen, you have the option here to expand this move into a side plank with a leg extension. Keep alternating sides, keep the quality nice and strong, stack the shoulders. Engage those feet, especially the one that extends out on the inside of the foot. Keep that knee nice and strong and supported. Almost done with this maneuver before we move to the next. Alright, for our next one, we're going to start on our bellies with our hands under our shoulders, and we're just going to get a bit of spine engagement here, arching up. You can This is called a sphinx in yoga, otherwise a half arch. And we're just moving side to side in our own natural ranges. You can use the eyes to gaze to something particular to help guide the head and the neck. Keep going left to right, and you're welcome to extend this with the arms out straight or slightly bent, also known as a seal. No rush here, especially if you're feeling particularly tight. Right, then we shift over to the next move. I'm just stretching out my arms here because it feels so great. Now let's get into more of the hips here and opening up. What we're doing here is a classic hip opener, and we're going to alternate what we do with our foot and our knee. So we shift from a typical forward leaning one back to open the knee and foot, getting the groin a bit more love, and just switching between these two variations. So we're going to stick to the one side for about half this round. Keep alternating, go at the range that works for you. Breathe, relax into it. And we change over the other way. It's a good opportunity to see if there's a bit of a difference in your sides. I'll be honest, my hips need a lot of attention to maintain mobile, so no one is symmetrical. If you are, let me know, you might be a robot. But if you feel different sensations on each way, sometimes what the movement looks like isn't always the best guide. It always needs to come back to how it looks versus how it feels. Great stuff. We move on, and here we're going to have the movements naturally get a little bit more demanding. So we're going to move on to our sides, any side first, we'll do both. We're going to do a modified side plank on our knees and our forearms. We're going to lift up the hips, and we're going to elevate the top leg just to get those glutes a bit more awake and with us. If this is a bit too demanding, you're welcome to leave the top leg stacked as opposed to being elevated in the air, but try to do the leg lifts even if you do a few reps. Great for the side body, getting the shoulders a bit more stable. And let's shift over to the other side. Can't let the other side get jealous. So really be conscious of what your spine is doing. You don't want to hunch over too much, don't force the move. You're not just pushing the ground away, you're also elevating off the ground using your entire body. Keep that breath going, almost at the end of this move here. Starting to get a bit more core engagement overall. Right, the next move, shake out any tension if you need. Next move, we come to standing. Our first standing move for the morning, for the session. And we're going to check our balance for a moment, but mostly go into our coordination of our upper and lower body. So we go from standing down to a hip opener with a reach, essentially. And we're going to alternate these to get a bit more of those spiral lines with us today. Focus mostly on grounding yourself through the stance first and controlling your body weight down, hands to the ground for that extra support. Great movement for the hips and spine overall, and the arm overhead is a guideline, so elevate it as best you can, but if it feels too forced, the priority is mostly on the hips and the spine. Last couple there. Great stuff, well done. Maybe your heart rate's up now. Remember to focus on your breath, keep that quality. Next move, we meet at what you could call a beast pose or a bent knee plank, and we're going to do something that's a bit more animal-like. We're going to use the combination of a hip opener and what's known as a tripod, where we're on 3 points of contact. I'm going to go from a backwards position here, forward through with a kick through. If this is new to you, welcome to the jungle. You'll see this move in our training a lot. I'm not going to go too much into details here. Follow along with what you can. Not to worry, we'll catch up. We all have that A little bit of an animal on the side there somewhere. Great one to get more warmth through the body. Keep alternating sides, strong, firm through the hands, and find your own rhythm. Almost there. One more each way and you'll have it. Good stuff. Again, if you need to shake out any tension, if you need to calm your breath, go for it. I love chipping in some spine rolls whenever I need. Okay, our next standing move. Can't have a day without a little bit of balance. So I'm just highlighting here the pace and the accuracy with which this move can be done. You know, make sure the quality is there. Don't rush it. If you wobble a lot or if you need to tip over and use your hand for balance, that's all good. Try to focus on using your hips as an anchor point. So think of the hamstring, glute area and your body overall synchronized. Then we're going to go one side. We go up and down, seesaw-like. Keep that glute engaged. Use the arms as a balance. A surprisingly deceptive move, but a good one to keep doing pretty often. Never underestimate a good balancing maneuver. Last one to go there, and then we'll switch to the other leg. If you haven't done it already, it helps to have the opposing arm balancing you out. Remember, if you can't go very low without needing to bend your leg, that's okay. It can be a bit of a stretch. We don't want this to be too passive. We want this to be more of a hip driving action. Last couple on this side. Doing well. Whoop, I almost lost my balance there. Did you see it? There we go. Alright, let's get a little bit more lateral movement into our session here. Good for the groins and the ankles and the hips overall. We're going to do a pyramid lunge or a triangle shape side squat. Many different names. We're moving one direction down, staying low to go across, and then going up on that other side. And then we're going to alternate sides, in this case, for the next minute. Really go as low as you can, keep controlled. Especially if you have tight hips, this is a great maneuver. It's closely linked to maneuvers like Cossack squats and other more complicated stuff. Very, very good for strengthening and mobilizing the medial line, so the muscles, tendons, tissues all on the inside of your body. So add that to your repertoire. Doing well. Keeping with the sideways motions, we can't have too many sessions without placing hands and moving on our hands and feet. So have a look here, and what this move is essentially shifting from one side over our hands to the other side into a low crouch. So it looks fancy, but it's actually simpler than it seems. And how much time in the air you spend with your feet is up to you. So if you need to do a small little hop, that's all good. We reach across to cross our midline. We place both hands, and we allow our body to naturally swivel out of that and twist and place our feet as gently as we can. See if you can do this without making a noise. And we keep going side to side. Very, very good maneuver to start building a strength in our shoulders, to give us the confidence to invert. And as this is an accessible session, take this move and use it as a way to help build up your strength as things get more fancy in the future. Last one there. Well done. By no means an easy maneuver if you're not used to it. So hope the wrists are all good. Shake out all the tension. We've gone through all our moves. So what we're going to do now is 2 rounds of 1 minute each, where the movements we're going to do are completely freestyle. We've done a series of movements throughout this session. See if you can recall them. Doesn't matter if they're perfect, and you'll have to change them slightly in order for these to connect. So let's start that timer And we're going to use the movements we've done, and I want you to just move. Don't think, don't try too hard. Focus on the quality of the movements. And if you get stuck, don't worry, holding a posture is also a good method. The first round's going. You can try and keep up with me or follow if you get lost, but this is your chance to try out some free thinking, some free movement. So all my movements are completely randomized. If this concept is fairly new to you, again, welcome to the jungle. I'll always try and give some kind of empowerment in terms of how to move your body. You've got to figure out what works for you. You've got to figure out what you enjoy or what the potential weak links are. This is one way to do it. So we have some moves that we've done, and now we're just smashing them together at random. Almost done with this first round. We'll have a small breather between and before we do our next round as well. Alright, there we go. Take a moment to catch your breath if you require. I mean, if you want to show off, you can just keep going. But we've got one more round to go of 1 minute. Just going to sort out my little socks here. Same thing here, completely freestyle. If you need to add and subtract small maneuvers to help you connect what we've done, that's all good. All yours, let's go for it. If you find yourself holding your breath, watch out for that. There's very few times where holding your breath is good. Don't worry too much if it's in or out in a certain direction for a certain thing. Just try to keep a handle on it, be aware of it. And don't let the maneuvers or the aesthetics of the maneuvers ever overtake the goals and the intentions for why you're doing them and for this path of progression that we're on. Looking good. We got about 20 seconds to go. Try to keep moving. I'll stop talking so you can focus. About 10 more seconds to go. Keep that quality. As we near the end of the round here, you can start slowing down, bringing some more awareness to your spine and your breath. And that's the round. Well done. I hope you gave it a shot. Let me know if that was quite tough or if you found it difficult to connect moves. As we practice our methodologies, it becomes a little easier, a little less energy requiring to put these things together. We've done it. That's your movement session for now. We're going to work towards winding down again, cooling down, elongating. If you're going to be doing other training after this, you can skip this completely. But if you're seeing this as your micro workout or a movement session, this is a good chance to wind down. So join me as we just stretch out our back here from any seated position. It's your chance to recover your breathing if you need. Going left to right. So next move, we go from a seated position and we place our one foot over the opposing knee. We reach towards the opposite foot. If you can't get to the foot, grabbing anywhere is all good, whether it's the shin, even the foot itself of the bent leg. And we just hold and turn, place our hand, elongate the spine, breathe, and then keeping the legs in a similar position. We just do one little twist to undo that tension, and then we switch to the other side. So crossing the left leg over the right, reaching with our left arm across towards the foot. If you're having to really push and add a lot of tension to get there, rather don't. Keep it relatively relaxed. We want an active engagement. And then one more little unlock to release that pressure. Staying in a similar position, we're going to shift our hips forward and up, so planting our hand, fingers facing the feet, and we're going to stretch out the shoulders, drive the hips up and open up the chest area. And then slowly shifting the hips back down to the ground just to add to that length of the shoulders. It shouldn't be too painful, should be talking to you but not screaming at you. Relax here for a moment. Here we go. For the next move, as part of our cool down, we meet in a similar position to what we had earlier. So we work through our middle line, our groin muscles, so we set up a kneel with one leg out to the side. So instead of actively working through that, we're going to passively, or rather not passively, but more in a calm, slow state, move through an open hip position here. So if you have a great name for this particular move, let me know. Maybe we can call it that going forward. We're essentially stretching out one leg to the side and going forward and back slowly, using our hands for all the support we might need. We'll do one or two more that side, and then let's shift over to the other way. So set up your base, make sure you're very supported. This is not supposed to be agonizing for the groin. We're helping our nervous system get a bit more used to these ranges. So today's moves had a couple lateral moves, a couple hip openers, but nothing drastic with the groin line. So here we have a chance not only to cool down, but to show our body that we can go safely into these ranges. Right, next move, we start in a lying prone position, and we come up again into that half back arch or a sphinx pose, starting to gently arch our back. It may help you to open the legs here if you feel excessive tension in the lumbar area in the lower back. So you're welcome to modify it to help suit you. And if you like, you want more of a stretch of the front of the body, you can straighten those arms into a classic position, the upward dog known in yoga. Same thing applies with the legs. If you need to open them a bit, it will usually help to take the pressure off the lower back. Make sure that although it's great to be guided and follow along with some things, that you make these movements work for you. Well done. Right, can't not give some more love to our spine. So the next move, we start from what is a similar base to what a child's pose would be, but we open our knees a bit more. So we sit right back on our heels. We reach one arm forward, and with that space, we take the arm perpendicular across underneath, giving a nice twist to our upper back. It's up to you whether your head is on the ground or not. I'm placing it here to help add a bit of torque, a bit of twist to my upper back. Take a nice breath or two before switching to the other side. So really take your time to set that arm up, reaching it out far in front of you, opening that upper back, making space for the other arm to reach through the new gap. And we're nearing the end of this session now. If there's anything else you want to do still in terms of stretching or active mobility, you should definitely go for it. What we're going to end off with is just, again, bringing our attention back to our breath, having a micro meditative focused piece of time here. So I remind you, if you are going to do other moves after this, go for it. But if you're ready to wind down, you can meet me in any position that's comfortable for you. Kneeling, seated, lying down if you like. And just close your eyes. Focus again on that breath. Just observe it. What is it doing? How does the body feel? I hope you feel a little bit more engaged, a little bit more awake. Relax for a moment. Take it all in. Thank yourself for giving this a shot. I hope it was something that you found useful. I appreciate you taking part in this, and I hope that you'll be able to join for more of it as we go. So stay in motion, and I'll see you soon.